What's up, chosen ones? It's Fearfully Made. I'm back with another quick message. I'm in the hallway of my apartment building because I know that when I walk into my apartment, I have to go into full-fledged mom mode and dinner and laundry and getting stuff ready for work tomorrow and cleaning and yeah, so I'm not gonna have a minute. Then my kids and I, we sit up and talk about how our day was. Girls, because I have two boys, so they're like kind of like into girls now. I told them like flat out, like, honey, if you want to have a girlfriend, you need to get a job first. And if you're not old enough to get a job, you're not old enough to get a girlfriend. Because I'm not paying for movie dates. But anyways, so because I'm trying to teach my boys that you can't be like a man that doesn't take care of his woman. I'm trying to make sure that they have like money to do nice things for their girlfriends, you know what I'm saying? Like, be a gentleman, pay for their dates. And so they're like, my son's in middle school, he's like into the girls. I'm like, you got a job for the girls? Okay. Anyways, so one thing I just want to talk about is you know, that feeling of knowing somebody and having somebody in your life for a long time. And when something happens, you know, it's that moment that you disconnect, like that thing that you once had, or that connection, or that like that solid connection that you guys spiritually once had. Once that disconnects, it hurts. And the reason why it hurts is because that's what you're used to, that is your norm, right? I want to talk about that feeling that we all, man, and that's I swear I was in the lift earlier today because my car situation, when somebody dug out my ignition in my car and broke into my car the other night. Somebody was targeting me. Anyways, like I was in the lift earlier and the Lyft driver just lost his wife just 4 months ago. And this man went from laughing and being nice to me until he told me that he was an older white gentleman, and he just started bawling into tears. He says, I've been with this woman for the last, I think it was 25 or 35 years. And he was like, I don't even want to date nobody else. He said, I lost my wife, Jen. I don't even know what to do. Like, I ain't never seen a grown man cry. I ain't never seen a grown man cry. It's like, but you know what? I kind of want to relate that to this message. You just feel like somebody died. You know what I'm saying? It almost feels like somebody died. And even if that person is alive, it feels like you lost somebody who you love so much, even though they're still breathing, even though they're still alive, right? And it's that moment of disconnect where you start to feel numb. Like it's kind of like a numb feeling spiritually where you don't care about anything anymore. Nothing really matters because you're kind of depressed and you're sad because, I just lost somebody. It feels like I'm mourning a death. But in reality, I'm just mourning the loss of a relationship or of a friendship. Okay, my kids are starting to come out into the hallway and check for me, so it's almost that time I gotta go. But long story short, I couldn't help but cry. I prayed for the man in the car, in the lift, and we just sat there and we just cried together. We cried together. And we, um, I just kind of got a chance to feel how his heart felt. It was like as if I switched with him in the spirit for a moment. He said, every time people get out of the car, this is what I do. I cry. I cry. He's like, I put on a smile for my passengers and I just start crying when they get out of the car. And he's like, I haven't had a good, nutritious meal since she died. I cook for my kid You know, he's like, I really respect single parents because now I know how to be one, and it's hard. And, you know, he was really broken. And that's a feeling that we all are afraid to feel. We're afraid to feel that. So sometimes what we do is we'll connect ourselves to someone who we know no longer loves us. We'll stick with someone who we know has spiritually and mentally detached themselves from us because we don't want to mourn the loss of them, whether even if they're still alive. But once you realize that someone no longer loves you, once you realize that someone no longer cares about you the way that they used to, once you realize that someone no longer has a heart for you or is no longer in love with you, even if we're afraid to feel that moment of sadness, that moment of brokenness, that moment of depression, we still have to allow ourselves to go through it and to grow through it. Because what's going to happen is if you don't release that person, then you're going to resent yourself. You're going to resent yourself. Why am I still with somebody? Why am I still friends with somebody who doesn't really value me? My son had a best friend who I had over here all summer, and he was like getting bullied in elementary school, and so my son was sticking up for him, right? And now they're both in middle school together, and they were like best friends, they're neighbors and everything. And his friend found new friends that are bigger kids, seventh graders, eighth graders, and they're both in sixth grade. And my son found new friends, and he said, Mom, my friend just started acting funny towards me. Like, he doesn't like me. Every time I see him, he's always yelling at me and talking trash about you and our family and, everything about us. Like, he's just like trying to embarrass me. When we go to school, he talks about all the stuff that happens in our home. And, Mom, I don't know why he started acting fake towards me. He's like my best friend. And I told him, it's going to hurt, but you have to cut him off. You need to go find new friends. You need to go find new friends. And my son was like, but Mom, me and him been friends for like almost a year. I told him, I said, look, if that little boy is saying all of those things and trying to humiliate you, you need to cut him off no matter how long you guys have been friends. And it's so sad because I've grown close to the boy too. He was like a third son to me. So it hurt my feelings too. But at the same time, my son's feelings come first. You know what I'm saying? If my son feels like he's being attacked by him and he's not being a good friend, then he got to go. And so I'm teaching my kids how to cut him off, even if it hurts. So if you got somebody in your life, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a friendship, even a family, it's some people that I slept in the same bed with, on the same couch with growing up, that I will never ever trust my kids alone with, and we share the same blood. I would never trust myself alone with them. It would have to be a public setting or a family gathering. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about since I was a baby, they used to babysit me. And so we can't allow time and history to, be what determines our relationship with the individuals. We have to allow how we are connected spiritually to determine our relationship with them. If you feel like the spiritual connection is gone, then it is. If you feel like the energy is dead, then it is. If you can try to fix it, but if you can't, then it is what it is. Okay? Allow yourself to mourn the loss of people that are no longer serving you. Allow yourself to mourn the loss of people that are no longer serving you. Because if they're no longer serving you, then God has someone else who's ready to serve you as a good friend, as a good sister, as a good spouse. Okay? I got to get in here and take care of my boys. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Y'all will in peace.